here in your office today. Just give us a wee review of the Saturday night show. Great night at the Europa and a packed crowd.
Yeah, it was our 10th anniversary show. It was a very, very good night. Filmed, broadcast live with TG4 on their iPlayer and obviously live all around Ireland and on Sky. It was a very, very good night. It was hard work because it was a tight venue, but it was just a fantastic atmosphere, as you know.
What was it like to obviously get somebody like TG4 on board, to given the journey you've went over the last 10 years?
Well, I had a few options for TV for that particular event, and because they've been behind Eric from day one, we decided to stick with them, and and they pulled out all the stops. It was a great production. Mick Conlon, Paddy Donovan, and Kieran Malloy, all of them, some great Irish fighters and up-and-coming fighters, all taking part in the broadcast. So it was very good to keep everybody there. I had Paul Hayden Senior, one of my coaches. He walked in with Halo, the son. I'd say Halo was there helping out. James Tennyson, all my lads were there to help out because it was a big production. And
before we do talk about the fight, the card itself, Eric's fight was for European title. To get something like that in Belfast, to win the purse bids, It was massive.
Yeah, it was, as I say, for Eric, that was his dream. Was obviously when he turned professional, turned later on. He turned professional, and a lot of people was retiring whenever he turned professional. But he really wanted to win a credible European title, and that's exactly what happened. And it was a big purse bid we put in to get it. We had real good support from Bearing Point and some other of Eric's sponsors. They helped put it together, and it was just a great night. And let's be honest, that fight was unbelievable. It was like a Rocky film, wasn't it? Back and forward, and in the end, I believe it went to the right man.
And we'll go through the card sort of fight by fight. Conor Quinn got a draw in his opening fight, back into the ring after a spell out. As Conor's.
Yeah. No, I was very, very devastated at that result. That was never a draw. Conor Quinn won that easily. He could dispute the third round as an even round, or the fourth round as an even round, but he won every round in the whole. Everyone in the arena, on TV, everyone. There's not one person apart from the referee seen that differently. And unfortunately, he is the man that has to hold his head up and say that's how he called it. So devastated. People say rematch. There's no point because he won the fight. What's the point in wasting more money? We paid a lot of money to get that opponent. He was a good quality opponent, and as I say, came with a winning record, and it was to make a real statement for Conor. And unfortunately, one man didn't see it that way.
And then just for Conor's fight, he came back out of it after a spell out of the ring. It could have been very easy just to put him in against somebody that was just going to go the rounds with him, but that was an active fighter that was in his face, and it came with a pedigree.
Well, he had the one previously who pulled out on the Wednesday, which was devastating. He was active and had a real good record and was coming to win it also. And as I say, he got a fever. We couldn't do nothing about it. If you're sick, you're sick. We're talking people's lives here, and there was nothing else about. And as I say, Conor wanted to come back with a statement. Although he's been out for a few years, he hasn't been out of the gym. Unfortunately, COVID played a big part in everybody's journey. Obviously, Conor had a couple of medical issues, but didn't he look good? He was very, very good. That's why I have no complaints. My only real thing was that they wanted a 4-rounder, which had a real good level kid. I wouldn't introduce him anywhere under 6. I think his 2 previous fights were 6-rounders, so I don't know, but the Spanish guy would only come last minute for a 4-rounder. It was all last minute stuff. So it is what it is now. We'll have to just push on and move forward.
And then Owen O'Neill had an interesting fight as well. Dropped his opponent and came out with a victory. Push him on to 9-0 now.
Yes. So Owen is development and progress. He didn't have a big amateur career, but he's improving with every fight. As I said to him at the start, he needs to get the weight down. He got the weight down. I think he weighed in 10-8 for that fight. some of his fights have been 12 stone. So, you know, there's still more to come off him. I think he could end up, if he keeps chipping away, you know, a super lightweight. And he's very, very strong. And what I did take from that contest was he was coming on strong late also. So, you know, the smaller gloves will benefit him as he moves forward, and also the longer rounds, because he's got some stamina, he's got a big engine.
What is then the plan for Owen O'Neill?
Well, you know, the perfect fight for him and Owen Duffy would be, you know, a great matchup down the line. I think I just want to try maybe one more fight for both guys, because, as I say, they're not long with me before, you know, they put it all on the line. But everything changes. This is boxing.
And then we had our third fight was the Cavan clash, and
Yeah.
another great fight. Sort of went nip and tuck with Dominic dropping Owen first, and then Owen coming out with a great punch to win it.
Yes, well, I have to applaud both guys. We had applied for Owen Duffy, Owen O'Neill, or, you know, for a Celtic title, but again they would not sanction that, because they reckoned that Dominic, that Owen Duffy was not, you know,
Active.
ready, or not so much active, but it wasn't good enough at that stage to fight for a Celtic title. So when I told Owen this here, he said, "Well, tell you what, then, let's shut the BUI up, get me Donegan, because he had actually just fought for their title. So if he was good enough to fight, then basically I want to prove to the BUI that I'm good enough to fight for the Celtic title." And it took balls to do that. He stepped up, he had a go, you know, and you know, it was a real fantastic, thrilling, you know, all Ireland dust up, all Cavan dust up, you know. And I thought Donegan was obviously, he dropped him and he was starting to take control, and then Owen Duffy just fought his way back. And, you know, it's like a racehorse, you know, you can be in the lead the whole way around the track, but it's crossing the line is where matters most. And the bell hadn't rung on the 6th round, and you know, we were halfway through round 5, and he get knocked out. No, Donegan get knocked out, and that's it. Now push on with Owen Duffy. But I really like Donegan. He's been on some of my shows. He's a brave fella, and he will, without a shadow of a doubt, appear on some of our shows again. As I say, he's a great manager in Ian Cochran, and I really like the team.
And Owen Duffy came out post fight and stated in this interview that he would like that fight with Owen O'Neill for some sort of title. Is that sort of the plan? Obviously, you mentioned earlier just one more fight, and then we'll build towards that. Yes,
you know, that's a headline fight for, I think, a show early next year. I'd like to see the two of them get another contest, and then, you know, possibly even an 8-round contest each, and push for the Irish. There's talk of shows again. I think some might be getting released this week, if a show in Dublin, this, that and the other, but we'll just continue on with our plan, and hopefully there's titles available whenever that time comes to put the two of them together.
And Tommy McCarthy back in Belfast, back at the Europa with a points victory.
Yes.
Tommy back.
So Tommy had, you know, his opponent was quite negative, but he was very, very durable. He'd just been the distance with the EU champion, and nearly won the fight, lost a split decision. Tommy didn't fire that night, but he still done enough to win comfortably, and off the back of that now, it opens more and more doors. So, you know, Tommy will be out before Christmas, without a shadow of a doubt, in a major fight.
And then we'll go on and talk about the headline fight, probably fight of the year, the best fight that I've definitely seen live anyway, Eric Donovan in a European title fight against his French opponent. Just talk us through that fight.
Well, Khalil Hedry's opponent came, obviously, with he knew he was up against it. You know, he didn't have the experience in the amateurs that Eric did, but the age gap evened the fight up. You know, and it was a real close contest. It was back and forward. Eric got a count in the 4th round, I think it was. The ropes held him up, and to be honest with you, I thought that was it. It would be over the next round, but that guy showed great heart like beyond what it takes to become a champion. If anyone wants to know, any prospective young boxers wanting to go professional, any that are professional, they're maybe bluffing their way and really want to know how to become a champion, then they just need to watch Eric Donovan and watch that fight. That 10th round was one of the best boxing rounds I've ever been involved in. Both of them were out on their feet, and that turned the tide for Eric. And again, getting back to, like a bit of hometown help, like this is what you're paying for when you're putting shows on, like that wee bit of extra advantage every margin. And the close rounds were going to Eric, and they had to go to someone. And the last round, I thought all hinged on the last round, myself personally, and the other guy done nothing. He kept taking the odd round off, and the rounds that he was taking off, Eric was taking on top of the rounds that he was winning. So that was the telling factor in a very closely matched fight.
And there was sort of mentions and talk online about people feeling that the other guy did beat Eric, but sort of on the night that guy might have been landing maybe the heavier punches, but certainly the volume of punches that Eric was landing, more accurate, from our eyes, Eric was the winner, like.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, like, there's always a winner and always a loser, and like that guy, he would put a good round in and look a level above, and then he would take a round off, and Eric would come back, and he would hit land 2 on Eric, but Eric would reply with 4 or 5. So it was definitely quantity. That won Eric that fight. He never stopped. It was like a bead, boom, 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 and and they didn't really have any objections about that. I mean, if that fight was in France, it would have been like 7-3 in France. You get nothing in France. So no, I have no qualms. Eric is the champion, and just we'll have to sit down and see what he wants to do moving forward.
And he was on the end of some ferocious punches on the night, and came away with a black eye. But that just shows you that he can stand there and he can get hit.
Yeah. Well, I did watch that back, and the referee called that punch. Called it a punch. The cut eye, but it was definitely a clash of heads. And as I say, as his eye was closing, he ended up getting stitches, the whole lot. But didn't he dig in? He dig in, and that guy hit him with everything, and he just kept coming, and that's what winners have to do.
I think Pascal Collins actually mentioned the Celtic Warrior, and that basically is what Eric was on the night. He just gritted down, bit his gum shield, and just went back out.
He knew that was his opportunity. He knew that it was the opportunity to become an EU champion, and that's what he had to do, which was like, no matter what happened, it was never going to be easy. And this is what, you can't be an easy championship fight. A championship fight is a championship fight, and when two contenders meet in the middle, which is exactly what happened, they were both mandated to fight each other, and none back down. A lot of kids, as you see fights, one pulls out, the other pulls out, but these they laid it all on the ground and left it all in the ring. But as I say, I'm just delighted for Eric. He's fulfilled a lifetime ambition.
And then the atmosphere that was created in that final fight was phenomenal.
It was unbelievable. So it was a big crescendo to the end of the show. We always knew it was going to be a great fight, and the fans, I want to thank every one of them who paid their hard-earned money. The place was packed out. As I say, we stopped selling tickets 2 weeks out, and anyone who was lucky enough to get a seat in there, were basically like, they were part of that whole night, because they carried Eric through the dark times in that fight, and obviously lifted him, whenever he was, at his lowest, and then he came back. It was just unbelievable, wasn't it?
Fantastic. And then we're not finished yet for the year. You've another show coming up towards the end of November.
Yes, the 26th of November, back in Europa. It's an exciting contest where we've got Colin Murphy making the first defence of his Celtic super featherweight title, featherweight title, and against Liam Gaynor, who's now based in Manchester, and he's making big strides over there. He's 9-1, more experienced than Colin, and it's going to be a great fight. It's a real 50-50 contest, and he's going to bring a big crowd. He's already put his ticket order in, and I'm like, wow, that's unbelievable. So that place is going to be rocking.
And what other fights do you plan to put on the card?
Well, Conor Quinn's definitely on it. He would have been out again in October, but I just feel he's went on holiday. I just feel he needs to get his head round, that injustice that was done against him, and we'll just aim to get him back in November. And at the minute, I'm still working on the others who I'm going to put on that show. As I say, I've quite a big stable, as you know, but they all can't go on every show, so I have to decide who's on what.
And it's been a very busy year for yourself and MHD Promotions with the amount of shows that you've had, and you've been abroad and back. And
yes, yeah, we've been everywhere. We've been, been away to England, Estonia. Where else have we been to? I've had 3 champions. Say I went to Glasgow. Nick Campbell. There's news on him coming out soon. He won the Scottish. Colin won the Celtic, and obviously Eric won the EBU Super Featherweight title. So yeah, and maybe chance for one more. I say one more defence of that title, and it's still only September. It's unbelievable. So we've still a few months to go.